Welcome back to Is It Wrong to Take Up Girls in a Dungeon? Anime Review, episode number 37. This I'm viewing essentially put the 52nd episode of the series, which is called Ignis Flame, which is actually Welf's nickname. Yep, he's called that in this episode. This episode still adapts book 14, and the places it adapts from is quite strange. Yeah, so it starts adapting from, I think this is supposed to be chapter 8, and it adapts pretty much all the way up to here. Basically, pages from the book, pages 99 to 118. They actually stop pretty much in the end at page 118, and they adapt like a little bit of pages from what I can tell. Basically, it's just from pages, from what I can tell, 200 to pretty much 207. That's a good amount. Let's start with Belle and Lou, where Belle is basically still fending off against these skull sheep. No one comes along, but he's able to spook it away. And that's it. And he pretty much checks on Leon, and that's pretty much it for him the whole episode. He only gets very little screen time this episode. Like, pretty much what I talked about, that's roughly like about just 2 minutes of screen time for him. And he's the start of this damn series. We see a little bit of Leon. We pick up where her flash left off, where they thought she was basically like she's dreaming or whatever. Of course, she might have a thing for a guy, or she's blushing, which I think that may be the original. And of course, we got a call from the Rousseau familia, which, of course, according to Leon, this is the same guild who basically massacred her own guild. And, of course, she says all their names. In the book, she says name Els, that's the red hair woman, and like a couple of the names in the book. In the anime, she says names of all the girls in the room. And, of course, don't go. And that's it. That whole sequence itself is roughly also just about a couple minutes as well. But in the case of the rest of the episode, we pretty much have basically Belle's group just going down to the 26th floor, battling a bunch of amphibious creatures. And they basically have this record, of course, more monsters. And then they came out a character who's not been seen since episode 11, which was basically Boars, who was part of the hunting party who was going after Gale Wind. And, of course, him recapping the events of episodes 10 and 11 to this group, because they weren't there for this. Where he thinks, they might be dead, but nope, they're perfectly fine. They're basically, they're alive, but barely. So, they have to move along fine, and then, of course, you get to a dead-end cave, where, Alicia is can you give us more detail? And he tells us more of basically what happened in episode 10 and 11, basically what happened with Juggernaut. He does not know it's called Juggernaut. Gale Wind does, but he does not know. He just describes it as a very irregular creature, because that's kind of what Juggernaut is. Which, by the way, Belle and Lou did counter this creature when they basically fell down to the 27th floor. That's pretty much what they are. So then, of course, Welf gets a source of inspiration from a flashback with Hephaestus, his former the woman who he's basically a goddess who he's in love with. Yeah, here's the thing: he has openly admitted he's in love with her, and I'm not sure how Hephaestus feels about this. I'm sure she has no problem with it at all. I remember reading that apparently he wants to go for eye patch because she thought her eye patch was too embarrassing for her, and he just goes you're perfectly fine as you are. Yeah. He just walked up to her and basically did this to her, and that's pretty much what he did, and I think Hephaestus basically may have fallen for him. Now, this was kind of revealed the whole thing of him being in love with his former god, with Hephaestus, his own goddess, which, in fact, she's a tall and very beautiful woman. And you probably noticed, though, in all these episodes, in the second curve of these episodes for this season, that guess how many episodes Hestia has appeared in? One episode. Yes, just one. That's not the fault of JC's staff. It is not their fault, the fact that Hestia, the goddess, is not in these episodes that much. The reason? Because she's not in that much in book 14. That's the only reason why. So you want to point a blame at somebody? Blame it at the guy who wrote this. That's the reason why Hestia is not really presented very much here. So he gets some information and decides to, of course, he mentioned this before, he actually tried to attack a creature with one of his little knives, which is basically like a mini magical sword, and he said one more swing of this thing, it will shatter. So he decided to make more of these things, but you see him in the episode gathering materials, and of course, basically everybody all agrees to his idea. They all guard the cave while he basically forges. He's got a little mini hearth that he brought with him. Basically, he brought his own makeshift workshop with him. So he's gonna basically put his band. Everyone agrees, and we end with basically him put his band in. And I'm basically about to start forging more weapons for them. Okay, and that comes on page 118. Yes, the whole thing with Belle and Gale Wind. That's when basically later on in the book they kind of basically this particular arc is still doing this thing where at the start of this basically we were adapting from like. At the start of this core, basically what we've been doing is basically down from one portion of the book and another chapter because we got featured Belle. Even for a couple minutes, we got to feature him. So let's step from because he's not in the chapters they're adapting from. He's 9-8, he's 9-7, he's 9-8, he's not even 9. He pops up in chapter 10, which that's basically deep level. So that's basically all where his stuff comes from. Which, that's fine. And there's a reason why they're doing that. Because this book is long. It is... currently, I've read today, this is the longest book of the whole series. At 400, if you don't count the afterword. Like, you take that out, plus the character page. For main story, it is 417 pages. That's how long this book is. And they've done a pretty good job adapting it so far. At least I think so anyways. Yep. So yeah. That's pretty much it for Cyclo View. Next up, I may get time to do a comic corner. If not, basically I might do it later. Which when I get back from going out, I'm be doing the next episode is Rancho Girls Dungeon. And the very next episode for Don't Tell Was Not Grow. And then afterwards we'll go through the 3 animated air today. Okay. Next video. Bye.